Well, 2 days ago, I sent a message on the company Slack saying I'm gender fluid. They, them. And I'm going by Alexa now, not Alex.
So brave.
So beautiful.
So today, I hand in my reports to the CEO. And you know what he says to me? Good job, Alex.
He dead named you.
That's a microaggression.
Yeah, that's a microaggression.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 A case like this could take years to play out.
Don't worry. We're the MVU. That means we operate in the social justice system. No trial, no lawyers, no rights. We'll have them canceled by, tonight.
Tonight?
Yep.
That is wokeness gone wild. Welcome to Fully Charged. We're Kendall and Sheila Qualls, your hosts.
You're absolutely right. That is wokeness gone wild. And this whole agenda that we're going through, what we're seeing in our schools with DEI, social emotional learning, it's all a manufactured crisis. You know, this is a leftist agenda using racial disparities to push a political movement.
This is actually the least racist time in our country's history. And
Right.
we live in the least racist country in the world. We don't have racial disparities. We have two-parent disparities.
But, you know, in the last few years, we've seen a strong push by the progressive left really to turn our country into something that was never intended to be. It's wokeness gone wild in a way that we've never seen. We have biological men competing against women, and we call it normal.
We encourage our kids to mutilate themselves, and we call it gender affirming. And when black people riot and loot and steal things and destroy property, the media calls it a peaceful protest.
Right, and right now, our teachers union here in Minneapolis, they have a contract with the teachers that actively discriminate against white teachers, and we call it equity.
Yeah, and last week we had that issue that happened down in Farmington High School where the students walked out in protest after an administrator told her staff to use their straight white privilege to protect students from keyboard warriors at homecoming. This is the first actually organized protest that I have seen against wokeism, and it was led by kids.
Yes, good for them. I hope Americans, regardless of political party, remember what made this country great, the values and morals that made this country great. We've been living off of the blessings of our grandparents for decades, and we don't even realize it. And unfortunately, that tank is running empty, and a new generation is really needed to really refill that tank.
It used to seem like Americans just had courage and inspiration infused into our veins, but it seems as if it has lain dormant for so long that we need to be reminded of how to activate it. It's really time that we push back against this craziness that's being shoved down our throats.
Absolutely. You know what? If a group of parents decided, hey, look, we're going to hold our kids back, unless this social emotional learning and all this DEI craziness, unless it ends, we're not going to, bring our kids into the school unless things change.
Yeah, sometimes I think about what our country will look like after we have regained our senses. You actually wrote a piece about that was published in the Christian Post, where you talk about what it's going to look like when Americans sort of get a smack alert and the woke culture begins to die.
Yeah, I actually did. It was called Welcome Back, America. We missed you.
Yeah, and you talk about getting unwoke and starting to reshape the country back into the America that we knew.
First, we have a new value for faith and the importance of faith and the wisdom of our forefathers. They knew that faith guided us in a way that we were self-governed, and the more self-governed we were, the less we needed to be governed by the state.
So we have stripped those teachings and values from our schools, from our universities, and from our homes. And it's as if virtue and morality have become passé, and the compass of truth points in any direction you want it to, regardless of the impact on others.
Second, the public schools of the future are very different from the public schools today. Because today, we actually market the transgender lifestyle to elementary school kids and middle school kids, and we call it equity and inclusion. And we actually market ethnic guilt to white kids and low expectations to black kids. And if you disagree, you're labeled a racist, a homophobe, or a sellout.
Yeah, the left is really pushing an agenda that, I mean, our standardized test scores are, in reading and math and science, they are taking a nosedive.
Right.
In unwoke America, parents start talking about different education options for their kids. They take a second look at what is happening in our schools and they wise up to those progressive tactics, and they no longer fall victims to the labels because they are counting the cost and they know that this is not good for their kids. More parents choose alternative methods of education such as homeschool, online, or micro schools.
That's right. In unwoke America, we laugh and cancel culture evaporates.
Yeah, we can't even laugh at ourselves anymore.
Right. We have a generation of kids who have never experienced the hardships of previous generations. Think about it for a minute. They haven't experienced the Great Depression, the World Wars, the draft. Some of these kids have never walked to school, ever. And the problem is that, these kids get easily offended. They're spoiled brats in adult bodies that believe that they have an agenda to teach everyone else.
Yeah, in our unwoke America of the future, we are just getting weary of this humor-stifling, hypersensitive behavior. We laugh at ourselves. We joke with each other. We remember when Saturday Night Live used to be funny? Right. I mean, it actually used to make you laugh at night. Well, the Babylon Bee is doing that now, and it should become the new Saturday Night Live of the future.
In the future, in this unwoke America, we treat each other with a sense of camaraderie, compassion. On the off chance someone makes a bad comment or a rude comment, an off-color joke, we don't react like it's DEFCON 1. They offer a sincere apology, and we move on, and they're not canceled.
Yeah. Another thing that you wrote about in this article is bringing back manufacturing and infrastructure expansion back to the U.S. So we're no longer dependent upon China for our supply chain in automotives, military, or healthcare industries.
Do you know in 2020 that China cornered the market on antibiotic manufacturing? They control 90% of the manufacturing in the world. That's a national security risk. Certainly for us as Americans, but think about those soldiers that are deployed and need emergency medical care. 90% of antibiotics are controlled by one country. That's a national security risk. We ought to be bringing back manufacturing of antibiotics and other vital medical devices back to the United States and U.S. shores.
Well, if we have an increase in manufacturing, that means we'll see a rise in the middle class, which means we can make marriage cool again.
That would be cool, making marriage cool again.
Do you know that the average age of a person who got married in 2021 was 34 years old?
Yeah.
In an unwoke America, we're going to see an increase in marriage rates and people return to marrying younger. We haven't seen that trend since the 1960s.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? Think about that for Black Americans. The current marriage rate is like 25% in the culture are married. We'll see an increase in marriage, a decrease in fatherless homes, and a decrease in welfare dependency. That's only good.
That is only good. And I believe just with the right leadership in place, the best days of America are just around the corner. And I personally am looking forward to saying, welcome back, America.
We've missed you.
Well, that's it for this episode of Fully Charged. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify or any other podcast platform. And if you like what you see, please give us a 5-star rating while you're there.
And to find out more about Take Charge, go to our website at takechargemn.com and subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please support us. With your help, we're going to bring back the America that we all knew and loved. Thank you.